Many of you here, okay, Ji Long just joined. So let me briefly introduce everyone and then we will go to the meeting. Just FYI Long, it's not very cold here in California. and I know home too, you guys in cold and then Ji Long. All right, so welcome to our VietMD board meetings, one of the very end. Next to me is Dr. Nguyen. Many of you know him. He's quite famous everywhere on VietMD's Facebook, everything here. Great teacher, great inspiration. So we talk more about that when it comes to his in-charge of nursing. Next, after Dr. Nguyen, is Dr. Sarah Trinh. She's applied to pediatrics and doing so well recently with the Medical English Club at VietMD, and hopefully she will match this year. The gentleman next after Sarah is Home, third year MD student at UMass, and just recently involved with VietMD, but also very active recruiting people going to medicine. And next, I think it's Ivy Vu. She recently joined our Medical English Club as assistant instructor. And the last on my list is Dr. Londo, pharmacist, very famous on VietMD too. He's in charge of pharmacy directions. And now I think more people will come. I just saw Long is on the very end of my spectrum, and then Ji Long from Massachusetts. Hey, Tom, can you turn your screen a little bit? Because everyone have to turn like this. Okay, good, because I don't have neck-induced pain after this meeting. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to, okay, now Dr. Mindo just joined. So let me share with you my screen, tell you the outline of this meeting today. Well, from the experience from previous board meeting, sometimes it takes a lot of time because people like to talk. And this is a very few time that everyone knows everyone. So this is for you, everyone share idea, and this is why we're here today. All right, so let me go ahead and share you my screen and let me go ahead and close this one. And by the way, if you have any idea or anything that you like to share with us before I go ahead here, just feel free to raise your hand. All right, so let me go ahead and start. So VietMD, let me go back here. This is our action plan for next year. This is the content of our meeting today. We mentioned about the objectives, vision and missions, organization structures, disclosure. This is so important because as we're moving forward to become a very professional level, the state and federal guidelines, and especially we have free clinic, we have to disclose everything, especially when it comes to financial interest. Then each division director will have up to 10 minutes to tell what did you do, what is your division, and what you like to do next. And the last part is fun. We talk about discussion. This year we'll talk about money, revenues, funding. How do we operate our organization? We talk about certificate of English class, telemedicine pre-clinic, future partnership direction. It's up to you. But a lot of them here, I just give you some idea. Again, question, just raise your hand and I will be glad to take question. You don't have to wait, okay? This is a very free discussion. All right, for those of you who don't know VietMD, this is a nonprofit, was founded in 2007, actually 2008 to be exact, but the day was 2007. It was founded years ago, and now, as you know, there's a group of many pharmacists, physicians, and dentists. Our mission, this is the original mission, and I think it still remains today. We like to be a global leader in medical education for Vietnamese health professions. We like to become a premier healthcare provider network for Vietnamese patients worldwide, not just US, not just Vietnam. And also to establish a global network of Vietnamese health professionals. So that's our vision. Our mission has been changed a little bit over time, but the main one are to empower Vietnamese patients everywhere with knowledge for effective self-care and healthy lifestyle. This is important. We spend a lot of time on webinar education to teach people how to take care of themselves. And this is our main missions. The other one is to teach Vietnamese students and health professional medical English, nursing English, USMLE, and evidence-based medicines. And the next two is to assist medical graduates who would like to obtain US residency. And the last one is to treat severe medical cases in Vietnam. Of course, this mission can change and we can modify it as time goes. This is the most important slide that I'd like to share with you up until now. Of course, we have more. I'd like you to look at our organization structure. By far, we divide into three major boards. So the advisory on the left, and the executive, and then the division directors. Well, in the past, the executive composed of the accountants like Thao, and she's not today, but I will present her part. Nhi, also vice president, she's not here today. And then the IT part, G is a Nguyen engineer. He's not here today. The last one, the communication, she's from Vietnam, and hopefully she will join later. On the left one is the advisory. So those are the advisor. Either they helping us, give me advice, or the VietMD advice, or give us some feedback over the year. And many of them are involved academic, also private practice in medicine. And I just recently invited Dr. Wang Fu, many of you know, from Australia, to become one of our advisory board members. And we also, by the way, to let you know, we also have somebody from celebrity as MC Anh Thơ. She's quite famous. It's Vietnamese audience from Vietnam. But also she is a frequent advisory board member. Now, we go to the core of this meeting today. It's about you, the division director, because VietMD relies solely on each division and director to operate. Today, the telemedicine and free clinic are led by Dr. Dong Dang. He's also a pharmacist and MD, internist, sleep medicine specialist, pulmonologist, and also intensivist. So he's a whole multiple board that, and then next one, a pharmacy and free clinic, Dr. Londo. He's a specialized pharmacist, cardiovascular one, and with more about that when it's come. Medical education by Dr. Mindo. Internists and geriatricians, and nursing allied health led by Dr. Nguyen. Interpretation translation, we're not yet, but we'll talk about it today. Research, Dr. Dupu. Along with this side division, we also have affiliate board members, include Dr. Wee Phạm from Y học Cộng đồng, and many of them from other organizations. We have over 40 doctors, pharmacists, dentists, health professional, volunteer, and organization on a part-time basis. Well, I just make sure that has everyone hearing me okay, or so far so good? Good, okay. Well, let's move on, and then I will give the microphone to. Before that, I'd like to tell you this is so important again and again. If you have any financial or anything that interests that may conflict with VietMD mission, please let me know. By law, we have to disclose it. You don't have to let us know what you're doing, but if whatever you do may have some interest of conflict or financial, please let me know. So the board of advisors have no personal interest or financial conflict with the VietMD activities, and I have been verified to each of them, and none of them say yes. The executive board have no personal or financial conflict interest of VietMD activities. And then finally, board of director, they have no personal or financial conflict of interest in VietMD activities. All right, so by far, up to this month, we taught over 200 students and doctors in our medical English class. We published a lot of articles, video, talk about current health topics in major newspapers of Vietnam and US via webinar, articles, a lot of them, and we generate 100,000 views globally. So just let you know that VietMD Impact has slowly over the year and become quite public city. We have a free clinic in Detroit, and we have almost 300 patients. This year we did a flu shot, very successful, led by Dr. Londo, and he will talk to you. And then we give a lot of prescription to patients. By far, VietMD have 17 doctor students from Vietnam. They match into year residency. And one in fellowship, the first one is Dr. Dong Lai. She going to start her fellowship at my school, my university next year. So excited. This is the first one ever matched into fellowship. So that's her. And then we did 2 books, and then we continue to receive funding from State of Michigan and US Department of Mental Health to support the free clinic. Last year, we received $5,000 grant, and I had to disclose it to everyone and board member because I wrote a proposal to the state of Michigan, and then the state approved that funding. In addition, VietMD this year have malpractice insurance covered by President Trump. So all VietMD doctors who do volunteer work have malpractice, have covered by the US Department of Health. Any questions so far? So far, so good? Okay. Now, let me move on to the next one. And because Dr. Londo is not here, no, Dr. Dong is not here, I let a microphone to Dr. Londo. But about Dom, I know him very well, both personal and professional level. As I see here, he have a very long CV, and this is very kind of snapshot of how he did. He's not here today. Hopefully, he get back to us soon. Now, let's go to the first one. Long, are you ready? So Dr. Londo will tell us about the clinic in Detroit and then the direction of the pharmacy division, what he like to accomplish, and what he like to share with today. Let me go back to the stop sharing screen and then go back to Long. Are you ready, Long?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. And before that, if anyone have any question, please feel free to raise your hand. This is completely very informal. So please share your idea.
Hello, Nguyen. Just let Dr. Long in. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Hi, everyone. So this is my first board meeting with you guys, so thanks for having me. So in regards to the VietMD clinic, I think it's, I've been there for 2 years now, so it's actually been going pretty well. Some of the things that we were struggling with was finding nursing to help and also finding a physician. So with Dr. Dom and Dr. Nguyen not physically being able to be at the clinic, we actually have Dr. Jimmy. He's a resident at Garden City in Detroit. I think he's going to be here for at least 2 more years. He's in his first year of residency for cardiology, or with a focus in cardiology. But that will help us establish at least for the next 2 years. So that's the key part. Now, even if we don't have a physician physically there, Dr. Nguyen tend to use FaceTime and would see patients at the clinic as well. So that helps a lot. And on top of that, one of the challenges we've faced was trying to get a nurse to come by and help with the blood draw. So that would free up one of our physicians to actually see patients. So what I did recently was I asked the nurses on my unit. So I work on a cardiac ICU unit at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit. And fortunately, I've got a lot of responses. So everybody, and they would be able to count that as their volunteer hours. And some of them are actually just doing it because they like to volunteer. So a lot of them actually sign up. For example, next month or in the next clinic this month in December, I actually have 2 nurses coming by to help. So I think that, let me just back up before moving on. So far, the patient population that we have service is really just from the church group. The plan moving forward is to advertise to the whole community. And the reason we haven't done that is because, like I said before, we needed to establish a strong group or a staff that would run the clinic. And I think at this point, having a consistent group of nurses to volunteer every month, having Jimmy there for at least 2 years, and the whole FaceTiming with Dr. Nguyen has been going well. So I think that sort of make us more stable now, and then we can move on to advertise to the community. We were afraid that we didn't have enough staff to really take care of the patients that would come in. So having a the clinic being more stable now, I feel now is the right time for us to advertise to the community. So for example, I'm gonna print out a bunch of flyers and sort of send them out to different restaurants, Vietnamese community, grocery stores, so that more people are aware and they would come to our clinic more. So far, our patient census has been pretty low. The clinic's 3 hours a month, and we would see about anywhere 5 to 7 patients. Last month when we did, or in October when we did the flu clinic, we had about 20 patients. That was our first month, so that was really successful. So moving forward though, I think we've reached our max capacity for most of the church members who are gonna come. So the big plan moving forward is to advertise to the community, and hopefully we'll be able to see a lot more patients. And it's only once a month. I don't know. We can talk about, if we get too many patients, what are we going to do at that point? But for now, I think the goal is to advertise to the rest of the community first and see what happens. Okay. And then we actually have vaccines. So I actually got the vaccine for my hospital at the cost. So that's a really nice thing too, that the manager is helping us out. And we can always, it's gonna run through February and March, so we can always refill more.
Yeah, thank you very much, Long, because we have a great deal of vaccine, but still quite expensive. I mean, for those who order vaccine and give for free, I didn't know that it's very expensive, guys. $1,000 to give free vaccine. Yeah. But we VietMD able to do so. So any comments? I think that before we, how about the pharmacy division?
What's that?
How about pharmacy? Because I think we discussed about pharmacy, how to.
Oh, yes. So that was the clinic. Now for pharmacy, we've talked about this a while ago, but I just didn't have time to really put anything together because right now I'm sort of like a team of one. So eventually, what I'd like to do is create on the VietMD page, if we could have a pharmacy division or branch or page that would provide a lot of guidance for Vietnamese students who are interested in doing residency. Now I see, when I go to the annual conference, I see a lot of Vietnamese residents or students that are going through it. I don't know how much help they have gotten from their program or who they have talked to, but I think we can be a really a good resource for these students as long as they know about us. I've been the residency program director for 5 years now, and I do this every year. And I think there's a lot of advices that I could give and provide guidance to our younger students, or even those looking into choosing a medical career, whether it's nursing, pharmacy, or medical. But it seems like we have nursing, we have medical, and I think the next step is to create a guidance page and sort of showcase what pharmacists can do. If those of you who work in the hospital would find that the clinical pharmacists are actually play a very large role on the clinical rounding services. And like especially bigger hospitals, especially those who want to do residency, they're going to need those clinical experiences, and they're going to need ways to beef up their CV. Or those applying to pharmacy school will also need to know what sort of things they can do to make them a better candidate as well. So I think those are ways that we can do to sort of expand VietMD and also help the community as well.
Well, I think that's a great idea, and I'm sure we can do that on our website. It shouldn't be a problem. I mean, we can do that, and hopefully in the next couple of months when we do webinar, I'd like to see if we can invite pharmacists, you or anyone, to talk more about pharmacy career, because by far we focus a lot on medical things. And I remember, I'd like to share with you, if you look at statistics from our website, 50% of our audience from Vietnam, but 40% from the US. So I'd like to share with you our target audience globally, not just Vietnam. And it's actually the number 50-50, some 50 from here, 50 from Vietnam. And I like that idea when we can promote that. Because pharmacy has been, especially the clinical pharmacists, play a significant role in any hospital today. And now they become provider. Just to let you know that in California, pharmacists can see patients by themselves. Okay. Thank you very much, Long. Any others, comments, suggestions?
That's it so far. Oh, Nguyen has a question.
Okay, it's a very good job that with our current clinic now, but I just look at the numbers that we serve, so it's a little bit low. So any ideas that we open more the clinic in California or in Texas? There's a lot of Vietnamese population there, or we move or something. And you have any plan about that?
I can give you some idea on why we opened this in Michigan and in Texas, California. There's a lot of organization here, especially in OC, for example. There's a lot of Vietnamese, but they do have a lot of resources. For example, any patient here in OC, they have at least three free clinic if they like to go to. In San Jose, I think there's also some free clinic. If I'm not mistaken, Ji Long, you can confirm with me that. But the bottom line is where many major cities have a lot of Vietnamese population. The reason why we open in Michigan and virtually what I expand is a virtual free clinic where the Vietnamese patient need most, because that's crucial. I mean, we like to offer the service where most people need it. And that's the idea. Dr. Dong and I, we talk about expanding the clinic into a free clinic online, virtually. Like a model, we are model after a company called Teladoc.com. So this company basically is, they serve 8 million US customer. And this is last year they generate over $300 million incomes just based on telemedicine. So to tell you that telemedicine nowadays become quite popular, but by far, none of the Vietnamese provider has provided telemedicine service. So to answer your question, and then I think that's potential we can expand as a virtual clinic. But physically, there's a requirement. For example, the clinic in Detroit, we have to satisfy the state and the federal law. And also we have to pass, we have to apply for lab because we draw lab on site. So, and that apply for the fee too. There's a lot of, paper, and then, but we can expand as an online clinic that would be more. As Long mentioned, if we can advertise this to the clinic, to the public, I'm sure we will have a lot of patients. But our main concern is, do we have enough providers? As Long mentioned that.
Yeah.
Now I can serve as a telemed doc over the years, and I can continue to do so. So hopefully that problem will be fixed. Any comments, other comments? Because many of you are here new, so I'd like to catch up with Dr. Londo, who's a program director in pharmacy residency for a number of years, and we like to promote not just pre-clinic but also pharmacy. All right, are we good? Then we can move on to the next one. All right, thank you. All right, next one. All right, so this is, we basically will talk about that. We operate, and this is, we have Dr. Long mentioned already. This is volunteer, and we receive a grant from State Michigan. And this is, all right, so let's go move to the next one. It's telemedicine. Dr. Dong is not here today, but here is what he sent me. Why VietMD interest in telemedicine? One of the key things that Dr. Dong would like to share with us today is the potential of a sort of income for VietMD.net. I'm sure you know this, when you go out there to practice medicine, not only you have a physician mind, but also a business mind, because we have to pay our staff. And Dr. Dong had that vision to find an income, because ultimately my goal, or anyone goal, is we able to pay our staff, even with a smaller salary, but it's like an appreciation to all of your dedications. Now, he proposed that in not just VietMD in the US, but also a global, for example, he started a facility in Vietnam, and then the result, for example, we can do as consultant here in the US. Well, I wish he's going to be here today to answer that question to you guys, because logistically it's not that easy. But this is his vision. And I concur with that. I do see that there's some potential for telemedicine. Now, telemedicine, as I say, it's constantly challenging our thought process in inception. And this is constantly evolving field in the US. How I say that? Because right here in California, telemedicine now become part of Kaiser, Permanent, and also at USC and UCLA and Stanford, we utilizing telemedicine. It's become a daily routine. In my clinic in Rosemead, which I will tell you later, we're about to operate telemedicine as well. Now, the major challenging is, by far, believe it or not, Medicare and Medicare pay very little for telemedicine. So the income from telemedicine are likely from the insurance, from the agreement between provider and insurer. And a lot of time, for example, Teladoc, they charge $35 per 15-minute consultation. Some of the other tele company, they charge up to $50 to talk to a specialist over 30 minutes, and that's cash pay. Now, the other main challenges, many states, they still require an original site. For example, CAC or USC, UCLA, they have to have a physical site and then expand telemedicine over that. Now, what we can do here at VietMD is I can utilizing my medical center and my office as a facility base, and then we can expand, or we can use the Detroit one. The benefit or the easy that for my clinic, because I have my staff there 7 days a week, and we can answer the phone, and many of my staff, they speak Vietnamese. So that will make the VietMD telemedicine become more realistic compared to the staff from Detroit, because staff from Detroit, we are voluntary based. Now, as I mentioned, I have a clinic here called Nguyen Medical Center, which I'll tell you later. But whatever the idea is, we need a centralized location where we can branch out our telemedicine clinic. And if we can do that, potentially we can initiate, or we can create a true telemedicine service for the entire Vietnamese in the US. To let you know, by far, VietMD or any clinic here, this is the first provider that we think about providing telemedicine. The other thing that last week I have a chance to talk to one of the nursing director here in the Los Angeles area. In California and also in San Jose versus LA, there's many Vietnamese elderly who are in nursing home at the moment. So if you can provide a telemedicine service to those nursing home patients, that would be another potential market. Well, I'd like to tell you that we do have investor. There's a really good investor who would like to invest into this project if there's a south one. And the estimate cost is quite expensive. It's several $100,000, but the profit share up to discussion later. Again, I like to branch out and make it clear into the meeting is whatever we do, we focus on the nonprofit mission of VietMD. We like to provide helping with our patient. Even VietMD telemedicine can branch out a new telemedicine company. That would be a different future. My meeting today and focus today is telemedicine to help patients, just like a free clinic in Detroit, but extend into medicine. And I like to say that because this is some potential become conflict between that telemedicine company and VietMD telemedicine later. And as I say, we can provide a framework for VietMD network and establish an operable clinic with potential. Well, the bottom line, we need volunteer with a very, very long-term commitment and with business mind oriented. So if you like to do this project or you have staff that interested in doing business, telemedicine, let us know. And Dr. Dong Dang will sit down with you personally, and I will come a long way to go with that. All right. So let me move to the next one. Is Division of Medical Education. It's actually an honor to have Dr. Mindo. For many times, I had not a chance to thank you to Nguyen, but this is the best time, because since Nguyen come to VietMD 3 years ago, the education division had changed drastically. And today, Nguyen, I thank you for your help. And we as a team, I truly honor that, and I learned very much from you. Okay, and I will hand my microphone back to Nguyen, and you can share with us about the division of education. Thank you, Dr. Do.
Thank you, everyone. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces and some new faces over here. And I really appreciate that I have time to work with VietMD and directly or indirectly working with you. Without further ado, let me just bring up my slide here to share with you some of the things we've been working with. And let me put together some things here. So you can see my slide over here.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Nguyen get me on board onto VietMD a few years back. And at that time, VietMD has already have something going on regarding medical education. Let me see why it's not going here. Yeah, so the same, the missions and the vision as here again. We target the patients, the student, and health professionals, and also help several medical graduates to get into the residency here in Vietnam. So in the US, sorry. The main goal, the main audience still the patients, the general populations, as well as the student and our colleagues in Vietnam who would like to learn more about medicines, as well as the knowledge, the treatment, the interactions, what we do over here, so that we can learn from them, we learn from us, we can improve. So when I'm on board, again, several things has been going on. This is a few things that when Dr. Nguyen had been talking about, I just showed some picture here, just update you about our current activities. We have the class as the Medicafe hosted by Dr. Tuân Vũ, as well as some image, some pictures over here about other online classes we have. So the current status here, the main talk today is not about what we have been done so far, but actually what we are doing now, and put out several questions so that we can get our head together to see what the directions we should move ahead. So the target audience for us right now, as a small group with the big visions, is the medical communities, the patient, and the general populations. The channel we use so far, in the past, we did some online teachings in the Ho Chi Minh City Medical School over there. But obviously, on-site teaching is not very sustainable, like routinely way to reach our audience. Recently, Facebook Zoom webinar is the main channel we reach our audience. Dr. Nguyen did some TV and internet TV with Formosa TV, and the newspapers, online news. Thanks to Dr. Nguyen, we reached quite a few populations over there. The grant plan I just put over here is, again, for medical English, we're not going to teach medicine. We mainly focus on the communications, how to talk to patients, how to talk to peers, either face-to-face and writing. Medical knowledge, we don't want to teach anyone knowledge. That not the goal over here for us, but we wish that we could be a portal for patients to look for information. If you are following the recent webinar series regarding cancer treatment, it's quite an interesting thing to realize that a lot of patients still confused or misled by informations out there in the internet. And for our medical professionals, we wish that we could be a trusted partner so that we can work together, not just in teaching medical English, but in the future, hopefully, that we can be sharing idea regarding medical conditions also. And again, one idea in the grant plan is a mentor-mentee relationships. This is actually Dr. Vu's idea. To be honest, at this time, it's not feasible yet, but hopefully with the learner, with the student we are working with, we may be able to give effective, constructive feedback for our learners, and hopefully we can build a lifelong relationship with our friends, our learners over there. The grant plan, hopefully we can convert the webinar, the information we have over there online, to something that later on people can review to learn or to read more about that, because webinar is good to watch, but if you want to look up any specific information, it's not that feasible, not that easy. And hopefully we can have some shorter clips, written down report of what we are discussed to distribute the information, the knowledge that we share online. And so far, I've been looking at the MOOC style of teaching. I guess we may, some of you or all of you may know about that. We have the small group of teachers. We have a huge audience. We want to reuse the effort we've been putting out so far. So I think this may be the good way to do it. Of course, it needs a lot of upfront investment and planning. Yeah, just thanks to Dr. Din for giving this image. So basically, it's show what MOOC is, massive open online courses. So hopefully, with one well-organized and investment effort upfront, the teaching, the material will be there for more people to look at. Of course, it's not the end. We still need to have feedback from the instructors with every new student. But then it should be easier than right now. We have like 2 or 3 instructors spending 1 or 2 hours with the class, and then when it's over, it's gone. So that's what we are thinking right now. So that's the grand visions, but let's go back to us. Right now we have online classes, and the content classes is coming soon. The coffee round with Dr. Nguyen is, I think, this is the first, having the first section, right? Throughout the teaching with the students so far, we realize there's some, recurrent issues about how to follow the template. So I'm thinking about having that talk with Dr. Wang Fu Ho to see if any way we can arrange some teachings regarding that. And for the children clubs, we done the initial phase with Dr. Tin over here have been, and Dr. Long have been working together to get some initial information about how to get form a more successful club. So hopefully we can make it into one of a channel to reach our learner in the future. The webinar, we have the cancer series still going on, and we have monthly or bi-monthly face-to-face with expert. The one yesterday with Dr. Nguyen is quite successful. And again, as I said earlier, we will try to see if we can redesign our course to make it more MOOC oriented, so that we can reuse the material, and we regenerate the content so that we can reach more audience. One of the things we are still struggling with is the sustainability. If you follow the class, you can see that except the awesome successful from Dr. Din nursing class, other than that, the retentions are from the beginning to the end, the dropout, or we call the survival rate, maybe 50% or even less. So we may need to look back to see what the audience want to know, want to learn, whether what's the barrier from them. They come to us with various skill and knowledge, and whether we get the good, whether should have a good selection process, a screening exam to get what we, the good group that we can teach, and yeah, which is the best way to improve their commitment to learn. We had an interesting discussion about the fee last time. But then if not fee, whether rewards or some special emotional, psychological rewards that can help our learners, that's a good thing to discuss. And also on our side, whether we can deliver. So far, the teacher is quite commitment and very, very show their commitment to teach. But we also, yeah, should review the teaching skill. Dr. Nguyen show all of us about the online teaching course on Coursera right now. I think it's, I look at that, it's very good to refresh our knowledge and learn quite a few tips regarding teaching. So yeah, I really encourage everybody to look at that. And we also need support from our colleagues, our students, and also find out what our patients can help also, either information, knowledge, help us editing video, like whatever, any help should be useful. So if you think you can help, and of course you can help, what we need is time. What you have is at least English skills, medical knowledge, or anything medically related skill you have. We may not know what our learner want to, but if you think certain skill is really beneficial in medical field, we can we can discuss and see if it should be some interesting that we can form a little short course maybe and show our learner. And yeah, again, any help is appreciated. I'm thinking around right now a specialist pools. We have several doctors here, so hopefully we can get their contact down and some of the commitments that we can send like consoles, can invite for journal clubs, and invite for monthly webinar topics. And also for the Mooch project here, anyone with the teaching skill, directing skill, or video editing skills should be, please let us know, let me know, so that we can sit down and talk, put our head together and try to come up with the plan. And the conclusion, I just borrow from Dr. Dong Dang slide. We come over here for the volunteer spirit, and we need a very long-term commitment on this long-term project. Donate if capable, and we honor any working ideas that can help we get better. So that's all I want to share, and let me stop share the screen right now so that we can talk. Okay, that's it.
Great, thank you very much, Dr. Minno. Common questions, very pleased. All right. Jilong, Tom, Jilong Võ, Harrison, come on. Yes, go ahead, Long.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Ming, for your very interesting presentation. And I have only one comment. I think the online courses are very important, and maybe in the future we have to focus on generating knowledge and presentations, and as well as courses, maybe video courses and for students, because we have very limited time. And I think maybe even if you do the discussion and webinar for students and other kinds of learners, and we still have to have them study thoroughly the courses that we have created before they really participate into the discussions, because we want the quality. Currently, we spend a lot of time for students and other kinds of learners on explaining and giving a lot of instructions, and I think it's really a waste of time. So if we have more online courses, and then people can study, review in advance, and I think it will be more effective. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Long. Yeah, for those who haven't know Dr. Long Huang, yes, he's real online, having his own classes, and yeah, so he's been very instrumental in our classes, teaching our learners so far. So yeah, I think that's a very good idea. We at least, I don't want to say waste, but we really spent a lot of effort to review the information that should have been reviewed at home by the student, so that we don't have to waste too much time, and focus on what we can practice and feedback. So yeah, that's very good idea, and hopefully we can create some sample, something for our learner to practice beforehand. Thanks, Long. Yeah, so yeah, I know I just tap into some of the resources we have over here. I know, and Harrison's and Brand, I'm gonna grab you next. Right now, I didn't get hold of you, but yeah, you I book you next, and yeah.
Hey, Mendo.
Yeah, hi.
I have a couple of questions for you. So
yeah, sure.
I watched a couple of the webinars, and it's more of like, like the history taking skill and everything. But I think it would be a great idea if you can do a case presentation, like, a person coming to the ED and have the students come up with a differential diagnosis and workup. I feel that, can add a little bit more style instead of just doing, HPI and all that all over the time. So, and also another sources that you can also use is also the Step 2 CK from First Aid. They have a lot of, a lot of scenarios which you can use, and a lot of samples, which you can give, you can give the student to read first, but don't read the, the differential diagnosis and the workup, so that, they can, you can pretend to be a patient, and then from there, just, ask them what to do next. So that case, you guys don't have to waste time, to do all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great suggestions. Yeah, about the taking the case. Yeah, we have the. You may also notice that our learners, they have some issue that get very sketchy history and jump right to the conclusion. So, yeah, we may need to go back to the basic for that, and that one of our supervisor Paul and Dr. Huang Fu Ho, he's really frustrated about that. He's one of our instructor over here, and he's keep complaining about that. So yeah, definitely that's a great idea. That's one of the plan that we try to put into actions in the future, very close future. Yes, and about the resources for the case. Yeah, I think let's see whether Dr. Jin can help us about that. She just just finished taking the step right now. Yeah, I think she's doing some quiz online. So see if we can convert those quiz into online discussion. It should be great. And yeah, if you can join and help us too.
I have the book. So, I'm taking it next year, so
I still have it.
Yeah. So tap into your effort and resource. Yeah, but it's very good. The thing is that on our online class right now, the level, the English level is quite different. So if you do that online right now, it's quite a bit difficult for some of them to follow. And so again, let's see. But this is one of the things that we think should be very useful for those who's up to that level.
Home, actually, I like that idea, and I think I can put that into my coffee morning rounds. I told you guys that now I offer every Thursday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. California time, which is 10 to 11 p.m. Just 1 hour for free discussion. I think that's a good idea. I can say, hey, that's a lady come with chest pain. What would you do next?
Yeah.
I let people come in and do whatever they like to do. I think that's a good idea. We can try that. And even with the Medical English Club at Facebook, I think Sarah and Home, if you can just put a case, say, hey, you know what? There's a lady come with chest pain. What is your next step? And join a discussion. I think that's a feasible plan, and let's see how it goes. But I like the idea.
Yeah. The one thing with online Facebook thing is one have the good answer, and it's kind of like discourage other people to give any answer after that, or just like me too, I agree with that, and it's so it's one time with the Facebook
and that's why I think in my morning round I'll do a little bit different, like this is not correct, so you have to defend yourself. Wow.
yeah, something back to the routing style. That's good.
Okay, go.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't want to go into further detail, but I think in the long run, maybe we should have a selection process, like classification of the English level, to see which students can fit in what curriculum.
Yeah, I think that's is most important, because so far we just like ask around, hey, anyone want to join our class, and it's gonna be very difficult for those who's not up to the level. They struggle, and if they not understand the conversational English, and they won't get the feedback, and it's very, very unfortunate for them to spend time and not getting the feedback and not improve. So selections is really important.
Yeah, and I think we should also have some like feedback forms. Maybe you generate a Google form and let people fill in after every course. So then you can gather information about like what we should continue and what we should discard from our course, and how we can improve the quality of the courses.
Yeah, we can do that, like some monkey survey kind of things. And actually, when I did my review course in Kaplan back in the day, actually after every classes they ask us to fill the feedback. So yeah, it's like right there. If the instructor is not good enough, maybe they won't invite the instructor back again. I don't know if they're gonna do it over here for us or not. They have no choice. But I think that's a good idea, so that we can improve also. But I think that the Coursera that Dr. Nguyen mentions is very focused on giving good feedback. So I think it's also good for us to give feedback for the student and form certain ways so that they can give us the feedback that give us the information that we need to improve ourselves also. Yeah.
And I think for that incoming at Cần Thơ University, we should do a better job in terms of selection students. And I think that would be our goal, because we like to feel that the level of medical English is about the same.
Yeah. Cham have some questions.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Bùi Thị Phương Trâm. I'm a National Board Certified Medical Interpreter coming from Phoenix, Arizona. I think this is the first time I've joined the board meeting here, and I'm very honored to be asked by Dr. Tran, to help out in whatever capacity I can, also with Dr. Nguyen. I apologize, but is it possible to make this a little bit quicker, because I really have to go within the next half hour. Maybe I could go next as I do my presentation with Dr. Nguyen. Yeah, I'm cutting into something I have to do. Is it possible just to let us go? If I can go to the next presentation, I would love that. Thank you.
Sure. I hope Nguyen and Chị Long, it's okay, right? And then so let's okay, why don't we do that? And then
thank you.
You'll go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So did everybody get the PowerPoint presentation from the Facebook Messenger?
No, I think you send the file. That's why I like to resend because you send a file. It's not PowerPoint. But let me.
I can send it now.
Yeah, can you share with us? Yeah.
Okay, Jiang Lang, are you there? She said, I thought she was.
I sent another one. I already sent the second one. That in PowerPoint.
Let's see. Let me recheck this.
In your messenger.
Or is it possible for us to just do it through our phone? I'm not sure. I only use Zoom every day, so.
Yeah, sure. Let me because I could not open that file at Jitam. I like to see by, if you can send me either by email or anything, I can do it right now.
Let me send it.
Yeah, Chị Lan, can you send it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Jilan.
Okay. Well, while Chị Lan,
so,
go ahead, Jitam.
Okay, while we wait for Dr. I call her Jin Lang, but I can refer to her the formal name. I want to be respectful to everybody's title. So I'll refer to her as Dr. Nguyen, Dr. Hồng Lan Nguyen. So like I said before, I'm new to VietMD. Really, I think it's been the last 2 or 3 months that I've been introduced with Jin Lang invited me, and Dr. Tran has introduced me to this, and we had a couple of phone calls. So I'm learning a lot about what VietMD does. I am very, very honored to be part of this philanthropist group. I think it's very altruistic and very admirable what everyone's doing here. My capacity and how I fit into this organization, I think, like Young Wan has said, is to talk about or to how the medical translation and medical interpretation field would help out VietMD and how we can provide our services and our talents to our audience and through VietMD, you guys. Did everybody get the email yet, or should I just continue?
I think I haven't. Let's see. I have not checked. I haven't received my email yet.
Yeah, let me see. I can see it. So let me share the screen on my side and let me know when I need to advance it then.
Well, anyway, so let's see.
Yeah, let me share the screen from my side and then let me know when you want to advance.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Wow. So,
yeah, so Jim Wan, do you want to pretty much lead it, and I'll jump in whenever I feel like, you know, there's something more I can add to it. Thank you so much, Dr. Nguyen. I'm not sure what to call you. I want to be consistent. Should I call you Dr. Hồng Lan or Dr.
Chị Loan.
Okay,
Chị Loan, that's okay.
Okay, cảm ơn chị Loan.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this is something I want to talk about. This the department that's very new for me. When I jump into this career to earn for my living first, and when I go into this, I found out something. I think that I need to do something for this job and for our Vietnamese language. And so the first one I want to talk is about the career. This is something we have some advantage and some disadvantage. I think that Vietnamese language, they have a lot of argue recently, but for me this is gifted. So I am very happy to be in America and from Vietnam, because I do know that American never can forget Vietnam, because of the Vietnam War. But the thing is, when I go into this career, I think Vietnamese is our language. That is used by American, and they get money from us. They don't pay us that much, and the patient cannot get the full quality of care because they can hire whatever people to do the job, and the patient cannot get the quality of care. How can I cannot move with that? Can I go to the next one?
Yeah, just let me know, Kit.
So the first one, and what I realized when I living in Worcester, Massachusetts, that a lot of patients, Vietnamese patients, they want to live in the community. And there's a lot of people cannot speak well English. There's some Vietnamese born in America cannot speak well Vietnamese. So there's a gap right there. And a lot of people don't know that we have the law, the Title VI, that all the non-English speaking have the right to get an interpreter, either medical interpreter or legal interpreter. So, and with the job, sometimes they don't get the higher rate, and a lot of companies get the money from us, and that's what. If you had to stay with this career, how can you go further with your knowledge? Next one, please. So I got I post on the website 2 of my certification to let people know that if you want to work in America, you have to get the certification. But only certification is not guaranteed that you get the job. And as I said, Vietnamese is our language. I want VietMD to do something to help people use our language to help Vietnamese patients to get better quality of care. So how can we do that? So we need the input of people here, because once you get the certification, once you do move further, like I got the second certification from CCHI, I had to get CME to maintain the second certification. So we are a doctor. We can provide the CME training, and that had to be accredited by 2 big organizations of interpreter. So let's jump. Can you say something about that one?
Sure. There's 2 in America. There's 2 types of institution that will give a certified medical interpreter
Can you
credential.
The next slide?
Yep.
Okay. And that would be the National Board, our goals and missions. Is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And no, could you put to where it says our goals and missions?
That's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see it?
It just says our dreams still for some reason. But anyway, so our goal or our goals and mission, as opposed, is continuing to what on the same idea as the Nguyen, is that to help the people who are interested in getting certified as a medical interpreter in the United States, because I cannot speak for Vietnam. I don't even know if the people in Vietnam have a certification for medical interpretation and translation. But in the United States, there's 2 institutions that will do that. One is the National Board of Certification for Medical Interpreters.
The next one.
And one is CCHI, which is the Commission for Certification for Healthcare Interpreters. And both of those real certified medical interpreters in the United States, but unfortunately, only one will really provide the necessary
National Board of Medical Interpreter. NBCN.
It's called the National Board because the CCHI one does not. I think it's frozen for some reason. Can you hear me though?
Still a little bit choppy, but still.
Still, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, let me continue. There's two entities. One is National Board. One is the Commission for Certified CCHI and NBCMI. But really, there's only one. Only the National Board has the language for Vietnamese. The other one just has a written test. And as you know, a written test alone is not going to qualify you as being able to interpret, because you actually have to be able to speak the language. So when you take the certification, I recommend everyone taking the National Board, which is what I have. I have a National Board certification in medical interpretation. And that test is given in two parts. One is the written part, which is the Code of Ethics, HIPAA laws, the basic anatomy in English and your primary language. After you pass that with a certain percentage score, then they allow you to take the second part, which is the oral part, which is different scenarios they give you. It could be nephrology, it could be cardiology, it could be pediatrics, and that you put on a headphone, and then they test you in your interpretation skills. They would have a doctor speak in English, playing the scenario of the doctor and a patient, and you would be the interpreter for both sides. And they test you on accuracy, omissions, code of ethics, and obviously language and skills, and if you're using the right terminology. And we talked about this a little bit with Nguyen, where this is where VietMD could jump in and help us, because a lot of times terminology is not consistent of using throughout the Vietnamese medical interpretation field, because many ways of saying things, but we need to make sure that we're saying it in the correct form, in the highest register, as they call it. For example, one way is that, oh, I'm suffering from a heart attack. And if the doctor says, you know, is that, are you having myocardial infarction? You should be able to say that. You should be able to understand what that means. It's also the highest register of heart attack. And that's just one example. There's many others. So yeah, so the certification will allow you to work as a medical interpreter in hospitals. Hospitals now pretty much across the board will require you to have certification. For Vietnamese will be the National Board. They also will take the other one, which is a CCHI, but like I said, again, they don't have an oral part, they don't have a written part. They're developing the oral part, but so therefore the National Board pretty much is the one that Vietnamese interpreters really need to have. And to work at the hospitals, you need to have that certification in order for you to be accepted to work. And although when you're starting off, you can work over the phone as an interpreter and they don't require you to have certification. But for you to be really considered a professional, that is the route you really need to take, which is getting certified. As you know, whether you're a doctor or even if you're a hairdresser, I mean, they expect you to go through certain steps, get certificate, get licensed, and so forth. So just because you're bilingual does not make you a professional certified interpreter. I think you really need to get certified. You really need to, after you get certified, they have you continue to take credits. They call it CEUs, which is continuing educational units, and you can take that through webinars. So that's another direction for revenue, as we put it, that the MD can provide, which is different classes. Like yesterday, I saw the webinar with Dr. Guindo on his presentation on cardiology, and that was excellent. That could be something that you could charge people, and you could make revenue that way, because they need to have units. You need to, I'm pretty sure doctors have to continually develop professional development. So for certified medical interpreters, they make you take classes and you pay for those classes by yourself to prove that you have been continuing to update your professional development and you prove it, and that's how you renew your certificate. Like mine is, I got it in October 2013. It's for 5 years. So next year, October 2018 is up for renewal. And I have to show them that I have at least, I think it's 100 hours or something of CEU units, and which I do have. And how do I provide that? Taking classes through webinars, going to different associations where they have conferences, and giving them a certificate saying this is what I've done. I've continued to learn, to update my knowledge, general knowledge of the medical field, and also of interpretation skills and so forth. So that's a little bit kind of fast forward, a little bit of review or explanation of certification. That is one way that we can develop revenues for VietMD, I think. And I have other ways as well, you know, to just general knowledge of teaching and how to do best practices, which means that you are writing your notes when you are interpreting, and how do you write notes? How do you make sure that you are maintaining your vocabulary that is correct and so forth. So yeah, that's my input for VietMD for now. And also I talked to Dr. Tan before, and he said he wanted to start a Vietnamese division of the American Translators Association, which is a professional association for the largest professional association for translators and interpreters in the United States. I think there's over 10,000 members in there. So we can, you know, have a Vietnamese division because they have Portuguese, they have Chinese, so why can't they have Vietnamese? Yeah. And to have that presence there would, you know, be a very strong thing, like Nguyen said, for the Vietnamese language as well, to help the interpreters and translation, as well as making a presence for that there is a population of Vietnamese people in the United States that want to have good medical practices and good medical care, and we need to have a voice in the American world, you know, not just, you know, a part of the Vietnam War and then that's it. I mean, we're here to stay, and we're part of the American fabric, and we need to make our presence known.
Sure. Thank you very much, Tom and Long. Awesome presentation. Now, just for those of you who are not sure why we created these divisions, I'd like to tell you why. When we started, I used to work as a medical interpreter before I went to medical school, and over the year, that's a growing demand for a professional service for medical interpretations, like Ji Long and Ji Chumbo here mentioned. So hopefully this is our latest division, and we continue to work together closely with Ji Chumbo, but Ji Long. Hopefully we can organize and put it runnings like the nursing division, pharmacy, free clinic, and also medical education like Min here. But the intention here today, everyone see what else people doing, and feel free to give feedback, comments, and to see what else we like to improve our division. Okay, so is that time for Dr. Dinh Nguyen and then Ji Long, or any other comments before I? And again, this is a lot of discussion for the end, but let me move on.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Can the rest of us be certified as a medical interpreter, since we're probably already fluent in, you know?
Yeah. This is Ji Long, do you want to take that question, or you like me to do it?
I think either one of you can go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, basically, people in VietMD already have the subject matter expert. I mean, you already have the medical content of it. So it's not a stretch for you, but what you need to have in place also is the interpretation skill. What do you do when you interpret? And, you know, what kind of things should you look for? How do you make sure that you're keeping your role as a conduit, and you're not taking sides, and you're not doing things you're not supposed to do as a medical interpreter? We have code of ethics. We have a code of professional conduct that we have to follow. Your language conduit, your which is, you know, basically interpreting back and forth. But you're also the cultural broker, and you're also the medical advocate to some extent. You know, it's life-threatening, and so you keep your roles. But to answer the question, yes, anybody who is in the VietMD group is more than qualified, because you already have background in medical, so all you need to do is having more skills on interpretation and maybe some note taking skills, and then some honing up on yeah.
We don't want the doctor to take our job. But you had the right to do. Once of the law of interpreter, you can talk directly to your patient, but you cannot do the interpretation for your patient with another American nurses or another American providers to avoid bias.
That's okay. I thought the question is that can anybody be certified? Oh, his question is, if he's a doctor, can he also play the dual role of interpreter? I've noticed other people have, but I mean, again, you know, a lot of doctors don't know all the terminologies, even though you speak Vietnamese, but maybe because you don't interpret many difficult words in Vietnamese, so you get stuck with terminology a lot of times too.
And the hardest part is not medical terminology. The hardest part, you know how to use the Londo register. You know about the country. If you're born in America, there's no way. There's no way that you know about how your grandparents, your parents talking or thinking. Yeah. You know, so people in the community, they know better than you. Okay. If you are born in America and you live the way that America live, it's hard, really hard. So, and the hardest part is the encounter when you go into the hospital. What can you do? Not the medical terminology. That's different.
So I guess we can discuss that later. I mean, in detail. But I think the idea is clear, right? VietMD as a professional organization, we have some advantage to promote professional medical interpretation.
Yeah, most definitely. I totally agree with that comment.
Yes, and we can somehow collaborate again with other divisions to make it a better interpretation service. Okay. Okay. Let me move on.
Well, before I really need to go. I'm sorry. I apologize, but my time is limited, and someone's waiting for me. But I really appreciate the opportunity to present and to give whatever skills I have and knowledge I have about certified medical interpretation. And Juwan and I will get together and we'll talk more about it. And I'll give a webinar in the future about certification or other topics as needed and about medical interpretation and translation. So thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chị.
Okay, so let's keep moving. And Dr. Nguyen, are you ready? Let me go back to the my thing here, and then I hand my microphone to Nguyen. So
okay.
Go ahead and then
Hello, everybody. My name is Nguyen, and I am responsible for the new divisions. Just new one. It's stated about 6 months old. So a short history, nothing to tell and nothing to hide. Okay. So now I just give you a very short presentation, and I hope that you're not sleeping on that, and hope it's not so boring. Okay. Thank you. Now just share the screen now. Okay.
That's a busy.
Okay. Now, so I just moved it here. So actually right now, our team just have only 3 people, and I hope in the future we are growing up more. So beside me as Dr. Luang and Dr. Brian, we work close together. So far so good, and very appreciate that the cooperation of them, and we're very happy to work as a team. So we have the missions. It's a very short one. They just promote careers in not only registered nurse, but also respiratory therapy, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy in the US and in Vietnam. So right now we just have only 3 main goals now. It is the first one is for providing information and consultation to everybody who interested to do those career. And the second goal is teaching medical English. Actually, I can say that it's a nursing English rather than medical English, but anyway, it's in the common term. And the third goal that I think that VietMD may miss that we plan to do the training clinical skills, because beside the communications and medical English, maybe we have to step forward and to do some kind of clinical skills to the health professionals. And what we have done, that's I have organized a nursing English class for clinical instructors of the University of Pharmacy and Medicine and Pharmacy in Ho Chi Minh City and Pham Ngoc That. And it's quite different from the other English class that we organize the class during weekday. It is on Tuesday and Thursday. And so we do 18 sections. And good for us that the survival rate is 10/11. And the last one dropped out because she is a clerk. So she feel not very interested in talking in nursing English at all. Our contents is just concentrate on communication of nurse between nurse and patient, nurse and nurse, and nurse doctor. So we just concentrate a very good skill that is just like a report between nurse and report from nurse to doctor, and how to carry out the interview to the patient. That's course already finished, but we hope that after that, the members of the course will maintain and improve skills by other meetings. And this one is our future plan. So what we will do next, that we like to open the other nurses English course in different location, because this one is just a trial, and maybe we will spread out through the whole country. And it's our plan, but it's not any particular location yet. And the other one, just I talked to you again, we like to expand the clinical skills in the health professional, like a skill in central venous line that I'm very familiar with that, or with ventilators that Dr. Long, she is expert about that one, and about the wound care. And I hope that with our team, we will make the other goal. This one is just a short-term goal, because the long-term goal, maybe we have to train or do something to help the nurse who go abroad and maybe looking for the career, back to their career, like a US MLE for doctors. So in the US, maybe NCLEX may be a good goal for those nurses, but it's a long term. We're not thinking about it yet. Okay. So thank you for your listening, and I hope that nobody slipping through when I was talking. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And then, as I said, the division of nursing is quite new. It's over 6 months, but it's quite impressive. It's grow really fast. And I appreciate under the leadership of Nguyen and Ji Long. I haven't heard anything from you yet. I'd like to hear. And then Harrison's. We have a very unique team here. I would love to see the even grow faster of this division in the future. Go ahead, Ji Long.
Yes. I have some information about nursing class before. I am so excited for work with Dr. Dean, Dr. Ryan, and other one. I feel so good with the student in Vietnam too.
Okay.
They show us how they want to learn, and they met very good inventor. Look like they made video clip. I am so surprised, but I think about later on we continue do it with the medical student in Vietnam. You know, because they made video clip, they show how behave, how English, we follow this, we correct them. But in the class, look like I have some class with Dr. Wu in Ho Chi Minh City. I feel I don't know, but I feel my class with Dr. Lin, the students do so much better. That's my idea. I'm so sorry if I say wrong thing, okay? In the future, I like we expand to nursing program for Cần Thơ University too. Because in Cần Thơ, we have the big department nursing there. We have they go master for nursing too in Cần Thơ city. Okay, I hope we explain more for this.
Thank you, Chị Long.
Okay. Sorry, Nguyen. Before somebody else talk, I have to give credit about the video clip to Dr. Mindo, because he is the first person to give that initiative, because that one is very good one, and we said that we have to multiply that example more. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Any other common questions about this? So let me go back to my screen, and we almost finished there. And as I say, I like to keep everyone still alive and not just like Dr. Jam didn't mention here. Okay, let me share with you where we are now. So probably you know already Dr. Nguyen and now Dr. Longvor. And then the division of interpretation and translation already been presented. Now, the division of research, this is the one that's probably the weakest one, because why we like to do this? Because initially Dr. Dufu was MD PhD and he recently finished residency. So he's quite busy at the moment, but the intention is to promote or to stimulate Vietnamese students who are interested in research. The research here, you don't have to be like truly like bench research. You don't need to study the cell DNA. You can do a lot of just simple clinical observation. So I'm actually actively recruiting another PhD, Dr. Nguyen from UCSD. She also a stem cell expert. She's not here today, but in the future, she may come to our group and I will share with you what else we like to do. But the intention here is, as I say, to promote research, our scholarly activity among organizations, and hopefully this division will come expanding so fast. As I come to the end, I'd like to thank you for partnership and network with VietMD over the years. I put my medical center up there for several reasons, because I like to make it as a future teaching site for VietMD. If you like to, because I see that student and resident can rotate at my clinic. Right now we have 2 doctors, 5 medical staff, and then 1 PA is coming up. Well, we also partnership with the U.S. Department of Health over the year to provide VietMD malpractice insurance, the outcome for the Free Clinic of Michigan, and then all the organizations like Y học Cộng đồng, bác sĩ nội trú, as you name it. All right, and then lastly, I'd like to thank you, Thảo, Lê, and Thuy Nguyen, who over the year has working tirelessly for VietMD in terms of financial and also communication. And this is where we are. So I'd like to end my presentation here, and now let's go to the rest of 30 minutes about discussion. Any question, comment so far by presentation from each division director so far? All right. I think Hong, you have a question about interpreter. Where are you? Go ahead, Hong. Okay.
So it's the same with you. Before I get to medical school, I also work as a medical interpreter, and I'm a national certified. The thing that I found most interesting is not the need for medical interpreter inside the hospital, because they have multiple service for it. But the thing that we need the most is actually outside the hospital. For example, patient need to make an appointment, have questions about the disease or medications, something like that. They don't have anyone to turn to. And most often they have to ask the family members. But if the family members can't speak English, that's when, you know, like the medical interpreters can come in. So I think maybe VietMD can have a, you know, a branch where they can help patients do those little things, not just inside the hospital, because, you know, we inside the hospital, we can just use an iPad, you know, and call for the medical services. That's not a problem, but it's outside the hospital that I think that we have a need for that.
Sure. Go ahead. And any other comments, Gigi, Long?
Yes, like what Hùng just talk is true. I got a lot of phone calls from different area of the city because they cannot find any Vietnamese interpreter. Not only medical career, not only medical terminology. This is in the community, and that is very when I see when I got a phone call for help, I can feel the frustrated of the you know of the Vietnamese of because of living in a city without a lot of Vietnamese. That very panic for them. And one of the thing is a very difficulty to find medical interpreter is a behavioral medicine or mental health illness. They couldn't find it,
sure.
You know, because they have a network. They go to the house and all over outside the hospital. It's really hard.
Sure. Thank you, Ji Long, for that. And let me answer that question in greater detail, Hùng. The intention of the interpretation translation division is not just providing, but also as a venue for all Vietnamese healthcare professionals was born in the US to relearn the medical terminology when they talk to a Vietnamese patient. For example, over the year, Dr. Dong Dang shared with me his personal story. Did you guys know that when Dr. Dang came to VietMD, he had almost no medical terminology in Vietnamese, no Vietnamese medical. So when we talk to Dr. Dean and all the Dr. Mindo, now he can speak fluently about chest pain like động mạch vành, động mạch cảnh, dây thần kinh lang thang. Those kind of terms, that's really cool. And you think about it, we are as a network and also a community, we can learn from each other. And Dr. Quinn is an excellent example. Before his presentation last night, we talked about heart disease and see how fluent he is. Think about it, his Vietnamese, he tried a lot, and that's very impressive. And now we have Dr. Phang Bo from UCSF, and also an oncologist. And I think in the future, the division of interpretation translation, not solely for the patient, but also for everyone who interpret or who interested in learning this. And Dr. Dean, he wrote a book about this. So I think we can use everyone's expertise, and hopefully long in the future, you run, I mean, I hope that everyone here will benefit from that division, because we learn from each other. So that's the intention for that division.
I have a comment on that too.
Yes.
It sounds like that's a really good venue for the telemedicine that you're doing. Because I'm thinking, you know, when we originally set this up, we were just fielding phone calls, right? And explained mainly to treat patients with certain condition or things like that where they can't go to the emergency. But what if we also use that as a platform to help patients communicate? Like simple thing is making finding a doctor, making an appointment, or, you know, that discharge paperwork, what's the instruction, how do we translate? All of that, we might not need someone manning the phone all the time, but if we have a central email, like the VietMD email, where patients just have to scan or fax or take a picture or email us things that they need help with, any of us could have access to that and sort of provide that service that they need. You know, like I need to make an appointment with this doctor, I don't know how to, and then I need a translator, like what Hùng said, outside of the hospital, mainly in the clinic, doctors visit, because I do that. Like my parents go to the doctor and I'm not there, they hand the phone over.
I see.
That's something we could also do, is if there's an elder person who doesn't have family around but needs to see a doctor, they could still call that number, one of us take it, hand it over to us, and we can translate. I'm sure there's some paperwork that goes into it, but you know, those are just like some of the examples using the interpreter part for us to expand the telemedicine service too.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, anyway, any kind of paperwork for us to do as a proxy for the patients, because I work for the government hospital. There's a lot of regulations that patient have to sign up in advance the name of someone who can represent them to communicate with the hospital. So if you want to do it legally, we may need to pay attention or really look into that options. But of course, we can just help the patients with small fee, maybe with like making appointments and maybe start with that, try to communicate, cancel appointment, making appointment, thing like that. But the next step maybe act as a true proxy for the patients to communicate with the doctor, because family members, they may be able to understand some English. They may get the information through the interpreter, but they may not be able to understand in details what the English-speaking doctor tried to explain to them through the interpreter. So, by anyway, we can act as a proxy. We can ask question on behalf of the patient and explain back to the patient. It will be a great help for the patient, I believe.
Awesome idea, Long. I like it a lot, and I think we can incorporate into. I don't know. You guys know this. We have VietMD have 1-800 number 1-855-563-4863. That's called 1-855-5VietMD. That's number. And who answers this phone? That's Dr. Nguyen from Texas. She's volunteer to work. So there's many people behind the scene of VietMD. She worked over the years to answer the phone for patients from the free clinic. So great idea, and let me find. So the point is, go to this one. It's like, how do we do that? Like action plan. Like who will take the lead, and what we like to do. Because I like to be very specific. Because if we need people, we will need people, and for sure, it sounds like we need more people. But at least if some of you can take a lead, whom you want to take that lead because you used to be an interpreter, you can work closely with me. I know you're a third-year med student, so I know you're quite busy at the moment. But I encourage, just like anyone here, we take a lead and go for that.
Okay. Just I would like to say something about the interpreter too, because to expand Dr. Londo about that activities in US, sometimes we think about expand to Vietnam too, because I have two situations that we have to do something. The first one about with Dustin. Okay, he has some activity in Vietnam, and with Sam Ottawa, and they send the test result or something like that from Vietnam in Vietnamese to the doctors in US. So they have no idea what's going on. So we have to translate it for the American doctor. At the same time, like Dr. Long Vua, once she asked me to translate the whole, what is it, Dr. Long, Bệnh viện Trà Vinh.
Yeah, yes. Hospital. They made a new hospital. They need a name department.
And their own translation looks so funny to me, it's quite different. So we have to fix it. So this one is maybe one of our service too. Thanks.
Thank you. I mean, those are great ideas. So let me just put it out here. And okay, so we have about 22 minutes left. I try to limit. I mean, the last year board meeting was 3 hours. People talk a lot, and then so this year I like to focus on a small project, focus on that, and move on. And then hopefully I will see all of you soon next 6 months, and because 6 months would be a good idea to sit down and say what we did. All right. If you so those are the thing that. So go back to H1. So Long for sure we will expand to publics about the clinic. And with sound like Dr. Jim, we match into his cardiology. He told me that. So he's gonna stay there for 2 more years, and then I will continue to do. I will find a way to expand that clinic to virtually a a kind of telemedicine service for VietMD, but for free patient. And so that's for the translations. And then not for pharmacy. And then medical education and Min, I think we continue to focus on try to find a select student because that's incoming class. And I think everyone tasked right now, and then me, Jilong, everyone will focus on that. I'd like to share with you this. It sounds like bureaucracy, but actually from the experience with working with medical school in Vietnam, medical school in Vietnam, they have to sign contract with international organizations such as VietMD. And that's why there's a lot of paperwork involved. And I'd like to share with you that we will be, whatever paperwork we try to accomplish as soon as possible, but it's a lot of paperwork. It's not just simple. And we like to see if at the end of the course, it's equivalent to 3 credit hours. For several reasons, students can do as elective. So if they can do an elective, they don't have to take all the class. Think about it. They have time dedicated solely to medical English. That's the goal, because if we can build as an elective for medical students in Vietnam, and we can issue 3 credit hours, that would be a greater way to attract students. They can study during their class time. They don't have to go on weekend. So that's all the suggestion I have. Now about the fee, we talk about that over time again, but the ultimate goal is still we give free to students, okay? But here what we do. We charge $150 for each student per class. But wait, we're gonna give scholarship to $150 to the student. Okay, so ultimately they don't pay anything. However, for legal purposes here, we need to do that. And then for each student, we will ask them to write a personal statement why they like to do this class, just to screen their commitment. Because if they're really serious in learning with us, they should put down their plan, why they like to take this class. And I think any of you can approve this course, any director can approve that. A scholarship, so we give scholarship to a student to equal with their tuition fee. Well, what if they're not student? Well, then we can give further discount, but not 100%, we can get 90% or 50%, depends on the situation. But the ultimate goal, I let Dr. Dean, Dr. Mendo decide on this one. But the idea here is we like to help out, and we like to keep the tradition free, but it is not truly free. People have to know that, because from what people teaching medical English from Vietnam, they don't charge those classes for free. You know that, right? It's quite expensive in Vietnam. And for us, we have the advantage. We are American doctor. We have some advantage even compared to the class in Vietnam. So in theory, we can charge even higher. So that's the conclusion. And then the nursing things, we continue to have that, as Andy mentioned. Hopefully this week we grew more. I just spoke with Andy briefly today. He's interested in building physical therapy into that division, and I'll let him contact with Anden specifically, and then to work it out. All right, any other, and then interpretation and translation, I will work closely with those certified interpreter, and we will find a way. It's excited, but that's a lot of paperwork too. Common suggestion, we have 17 minutes left. Let's see.
Yes, again, just want to reiterate again, the fee is one way to incentive our learner to commit to the study. Mm-hmm. There's real life experience, and there's some studies show that it's helped the student to study. We're not making any money from this, we're not earning anything from this, but we know that the price, the value of the time of the instructor and their own time to spend on the course. So if they take one spot from the class and they're not learning, they drop out, that one spot lost. Other people should have taken that spot. So just to keep the learner the commitment to know that, oh, I'm here for my studying, and I'm here with the price. So that's the main reason for the fee. And again, we're not making any money from that. We plan to waive on the fee, but for the legal purpose and for the sake of the patients, that's why we put it there, just to make it very clear.
And just follow Dr. Mindo. Another requirement is VietMD is on its way to become ACGME accredited to give CME for a doctor in the US, because ultimately that's what we like to do. Which as a medical organization professional, we should be able to give CME credit even to any US doctor. And how, I will tell you more detail later. But at least from our end, I like to stay a staff at USA next year as an assistant professor. And then Dr. Londo already a program director, so both of us, we hold academic qualification. And many of us here, Dr. Mindo, are board certified, Dr. Dong, board certified. So many of us here, we okay to do that kind of pathway. Any other question or suggestion about this meeting today?
So how about the fee we apply to Cần Thơ class too?
Yes, I think we do the same thing, $150 per student, but we give a scholarship, $150. And one thing though, if the student go to this class, they feel honored too, because look at that, they have $150 scholarship from the US, right? So I think it's a two-way stream and two-way street that everyone appreciate that. And also our instructor, given time and dedication, it's truly, of course, Min explain, we do that because as we're evolving, we become a more professional organization. And hopefully next 6 months, we see more progress, we see more great news. My goal for this year is quite simple for the clinic in Detroit long. Continue to have free malpractice coverage from President Trump. Whether you like him or not, you should thank him that for the past 1 year, he covered the malpractice for our clinic. And then I thank him too. And then I work closely with the state of Michigan. Hopefully we have some other funding. And then
he could use the coverage himself too. So
that's true. But to tell you, give you an example, if we do think we follow the legal pathway, we have a lot of supportive such a free clinic. See how now we become one of the national free clinic network. And that's a very excited to share with you, because if we do think correctly, there's a lot of way that we can improve and we can advance our organization.
Okay, Nguyen, I think that some people here from the beginning up to now not talk a word. So maybe
please, Brian.
Yes, okay, like Brian and
I'm Brian.
Thúy and Vũ. Okay, please give us some feedback.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. I'm kind of shy because out the board members here, I'm the newest one, so I'm basically learning from the instructors. To me, I think my personal opinion for the course in the futures, like we need to develop a really good curriculum. And we can adopt a different model of lectures, like lecture-based, case study-based, or make the student watch the assigned lecture and discuss in the class. So that's why everybody have a chance to discuss in the class with a short period of time, the time frame that we allowed. I myself experienced learning medical English in the US. So I do believe that one of the curriculum should be go back to the basic. You know, first of all, pronunciation. Like I mentioned before, if you don't say the word correctly, you couldn't hear. You don't understand what people say, and if you don't pronounce this correctly. The secondly is back to basic, like we have to do like OPQRST in H&P. There's no other way to do that. I mean, there's no other way to learn without go back to the basic structural H&P and learn how to do like oral presentation. That from my own experience, want to share with the class. And I think other than that, I'm learning from the other doctors here. So
thank you, Brian. I'm very impressed. For those who don't know Brian, he's amazing because he was a nurse. He was a doctor in Vietnam, came to the US, became a nurse, an RN, and then didn't like nursing, and then go to medical school, become a doctor, and now finishing residency in internal medicine. Very impressive story, very inspirational story. Brian is another kind of legendary to Dr. Đức Vũ. Remember, recall this. So VietMD have so many interesting figures. All right, who else actually who haven't talked at all? Let me see. Besides Brian, and let me see. Vũ, right? Leland Vũ. But I like to welcome with you our special guest from Vietnam, MC Anh Thơ. Actually, she's from Saigon. She just joined us. So Anh Thơ helped me with giving advice in terms of the Vietnamese market, because sometimes I contact people from Vietnam like her to see what are the demand, what are the needs for students. And Anh Thơ, you can speak Vietnamese.
Turn the mic,
Dạ, chào. Em rất là xin lỗi tại vì em mới vô thôi. Nên là đây là lần đầu tiên mà em join trong một cái wow, em xin lỗi. Hơi lộng cộng một tí nhé. Không biết là em nói thì các anh có nghe được không?
Okay, được.
Được ha, ok. Thứ nhất là em xin lỗi là tại vì hẹn 9 giờ. 9 giờ không thấy cho nên là em làm việc riêng một tí thì em vô hơi trễ, nên là em không biết là từ nãy giờ thì các anh không biết là có chị nào không thì đã nói chuyện như thế nào rồi. Thôi thì cứ cho em tham gia và em ngồi em nghe thôi ha. Thấy các anh nói chuyện về chuyên môn rất là hay, còn em thì vẫn chưa biết là mình có thể hỗ trợ được gì trong cái tổ chức của mình đó mà.
Well, Anh Thơ là một trong những người dẫn chương trình khá là nổi tiếng ở Việt Nam với đài truyền hình Vĩnh Long và VTV9. Okay, so bây giờ để Huỳnh trở lại nhé. Okay, so let me go back to Vũ. Lindsay, right? Vũ, you have not talked anything, and then I go back to Dr. Thuy Huỳnh. Okay, go ahead, Lindsay. Okay, can you hear us? We waiting for your talk. Is that Ivy, right? Lily. Okay, sorry, not Lindsay, Lily.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry for being so silent. Sorry. Well, I'm only like a third year medical student. I passed it. I got result last Friday.
Good.
I'll be MD4, so I'm very junior. So probably my anything I say probably so junior. But I only have two things maybe that worth to contribute. So the first thing is I'll only just start with VietMD. So I joined one of the teaching sessions for pediatrician in Da Nang, and I'm just wondering that because everybody knew the diagnosis already before the conversation even started. So a lot of the doctor like really jump into narrowed questions. I think it's just natural. Mm-hmm. It's very natural, like because everybody knew the diagnosis, there's no need to start broad anymore. But I think that it just well, I'm not familiar with that. It's always that we are given a presentation and we work the diagnosis ourselves. So I think it's better to do it that way. Like, yeah. And also like, for example, after the conversation, the doctor can have several diagnoses, and then we can give like more test results or anything, and then they have to figure out the final diagnosis themselves. Like I think that's what I would do. I just find that it's a bit unusual that everybody knew the diagnosis before the history even be taken.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lily.
The second thing I would say, the second I would like to ask is, well, when I rotate in the hospital, I see a lot of medical equipment only be used once and then get thrown away. I mean, like, what is standard practice? I'm not sure about America. I've never been to America. I'm just talking about Australia in Melbourne. And I think that it's kind of a really big waste, and all these equipments can be cleaned and like really properly cleaned, not like just like clean up to medical level, and can be used in like poor settings like in Vietnam or something, like instead of get thrown in the bin. So I don't know whether it's a good idea to collect these used medical equipment from clinics and hospitals in like developed settings. Yeah, that's my two things that I would like to contribute.
Thank you.
I just want to tell something about that because from the past to experience of the nursing class, we start the topic with symptoms rather than diagnosis. So like we play the role like a doctor or the patient, and the student have to figure out what to do. So it's a very natural process. So from now next to the control class, we start with the symptom, topic of symptom, not the disease. So it's much better. Number two, about the equipment, because here in Canada, we have a lot of equipment and sometimes it's so quite good, new, not used yet. But for some reason, we have to discard. So right now we send to the countries in the countries of African country. So I don't know that because, you know, the paperwork is a process there. I don't know. Sometimes the Vietnamese government don't accept those stuff. So that's a big problem. But we feel very at ease to send all the equipment we use to Africa.
Yeah. Thank you, Andin. And I concur with that idea that whenever we teach, I think next time when we first focus patient with symptom, they can remember patient that come with that always with symptom. Nobody come with a head, hey, I have chest pain, I have MI. Look at me, I have dermatitis. No, I have skin rash, right? I think our job is, so I think that Dr. Ho, Wang Fu Ho is really focused on that. And I think next class we should go for even with nursing or doctor. It doesn't matter because the complaint coming from a complaint, right? They have a symptom. That's why that's bothered them. It's not truly why they have this. Oh, I have my MI. Please cap me, or please, stand into my LAD. It's not exactly like that. Okay, so we are about to finish, and in fact, Dr. Thuy Huân, I'd like to hear from you. Dr. Nguyen is from Da Nang, and she's work closely with VietMD in the organizers and the class at Da Nang Hospital. Go ahead. Could not hear you. Okay, good.
Alo.
Yes.
Mình nghĩ những cái lớp như thế này á, mọi người sẽ phải có một cái đánh giá về cái level trước, rồi đưa ra cái mục tiêu rõ ràng. Ví dụ như cái lớp này là lớp cho bác sĩ mà bác sĩ không nói chung chung được. Bác sĩ là chuyên khoa hay là bác sĩ là đa khoa, bác sĩ đó thì có kinh nghiệm trong nghề là bao nhiêu năm rồi, hay là bác sĩ mới ra trường, thì như vậy mình mới biết được là cái level của người ta về tiếng Anh cũng như cái level về chuyên ngành. Thì lúc đó mình mới đưa ra một cái mục tiêu, rồi cái mục tiêu đó nó sát với người học, thì như vậy thì mình mới tương tác tốt được. Rồi nếu như mình tổ chức cái lớp này là cho sinh viên thì phải là sinh viên năm mấy, ví dụ như là sinh viên năm 1, năm 2 là người ta chưa có đi học về lâm sàng, người ta mới học về y học cơ sở, ví dụ như là giải phẫu bệnh rồi sinh lý bệnh rồi này kia thế nọ, thì các thứ là cái level nó phải cùng nhau, và rồi mình mới set up một cái mục tiêu, thì lúc đó lớp học nó mới hiệu quả được. Ý kiến của mình là như vậy, còn những ý kiến khác thì mọi người cũng thảo luận nhiều rồi. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. All right.
Little big idea about class. in Vietnam, the student, they learn in different level. The same Dr. Đà Nẵng just say, look like E4, they will syndrome, and look like medical student 5th and the 6th, they learn about diagnosis and treatment. That's the reason why we need to focus what level we teaching students. I think this is a good idea from Dr. Đà Nẵng too. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Any other comment, suggestion before we about to Hồng, you have a question? Yes. Go ahead, Hồng.
Hi, and I have a question about the research department. I think it's really good for Vietnamese students, undergrads who want to get into medical school, because research, do put a plus on the application. So if you guys doing anything that interesting, maybe you guys should let us know so we can, let others pre-med student know so they can join, so they can get some experience.
That's a great idea, and that's why I spoke with Dr. Nguyen at the moment from UCSD. The idea is we're not going to do bench research because we don't have any lab.
Yeah.
However, we can do clinical question. For example, we can do literature review. Okay, we can do basically we can do a med review, or we can do a couple online things. Furthermore, we can do some survey for example, let's talk about medical English here. We can do a quick statistic analysis, see how do a quick survey and what the level of understanding is, and we can design our course even better. So hopefully when I have more info about it, I will send more info to you guys.
Okay.
So that's the idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yes, Chi Long.
Well, we are already talking about pronunciation. So next time we should have a section or something that help with pronunciation. Because when I listen to our student, I wondering how can the doctor here understand them? Because if you don't say pronounce it as well, nobody can understand you. You cannot work in America. So you have to do something about that.
Sure. Thank you, Chi Long. I'll take note on that too. All right, guys. Especially thank you very much for everyone. I know it's late at your time, Long. It's 11, right? And at Home and everyone there. So thank you for this board meeting. Any other comment before we all go to bed? All right. So thank you and have a good night, everyone. We finished on time. That's awesome. That's 8 p.m. right now. It's good night. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.